That's awesome. Okay, well, it's not going to let me do that, so... that's ridiculous. Okay, so I had it right before and it wouldn't let me do it. So anyway, Andrea, let's see if we can get you on here. Oh, see, I know how to do this. So, okay. Maybe. What in the world? This is just crazy. Riding the struggle bus today, but Satan, you will not win. Because I will manage. There's Dr. Ty. Hello, second time's a charm. Had to scrap the first one. So I can't, it just will not let me invite anybody. And it shows nobody, even though I know that you're on there. There's Dr. Ty. How are you? There she is. Okay, there we go. Yes. Bring them on camera. Okay, let's see if it works. Technology. There's Andrea. Yay! I get so excited. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm sorry, I wanted to be side by side, but it's so silly. It won't let you type and then turn it. So I had to type it sideways, apparently. Whatever. It's whatever.
It's technology today. People can't upload their webinars. It's like all types of stuff going on. So
I know, and I had it on the computer. I was so proud. I finally figured out how to get my camera to work. And I thought, oh, I'm going to do it on this because it's easier. It can see faces better. And I had no menu, so I couldn't add anybody because there was no buttons. I was like, there was no comments. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, devil, I'm going to the phone because I know I can do it there.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Anyway, I'm so excited to have you here this morning. So I would introduce you as Andrea A Moore. I never know because I know some people call you Drea, and you said whatever is fine, but just call you Ms. Moore. Anyway, and magnificent. I'm super excited to have you on this morning. Hi, Michelle. I'm very, very excited about this project that we collaborated on, and it's an honor for me to be part of the book as well, which we're going to talk about that. But I know you're an author, you're a speaker, you're a mindset coach, but I'd just like for you to tell us a little bit about who Andrea is.
Okay.
And where you're from and all that stuff too.
Gotcha. So, hey y'all, I'm Drea, Dre, Andrea, whatever you want to call me. I answer. I am a mom of 3. I am sports crazy. I love sports. I grew up loving sports. I think that's what makes me an interesting coach because I intertwine what I've learned from my coaches. A lot of my coaches I had are on my Facebook page, so it's kind of funny because they're seeing them and me when I'm talking. They're like, oh, okay, that paid off. I am a wife, been married, it'll be 13 years in September.
Awesome.
So I'm excited about that. My husband, I've been knowing him since I've been 8 years old.
Oh my goodness.
So, which is interesting because we were best friends first. So it's just funny how God works sometimes. I love lime green, fuchsia. I love bright colors. I like to dance. I like hip hop. I like rock. I was just listening to Nirvana. Awesome. I'm showing my age now. I'm showing my age, you know. I love to see people in general grow. I love to see people walk in their purpose and really understand their why. One of my big things is walk in it, jump in it, shout in it, do what you got to do because the world needs you now. They don't need you next year. The delay is literally unnecessary. So that is,
I love that.
A little bit about me outside of everything else that I do. So if anybody follows me at Andrea A Moore on Facebook, friends, you're going to see a plethora of things. You're going to see me talking about my senior, and I cry about him all the time. You're going to see me share people's adventures and events. That's one of my things I share all the time because you never know who they can reach. I'm just the vessel. I'm going to share the event if you're in the area. You're going to laugh. You're going to cry. I get on live and I cry. Like, this is real life. I'm not a robot, I promise.
That's me. I'm like, if you start crying, Andrea, I'll just start crying. It's just me. I'm a sympathetic crier. So that's how it is. Yes. I'm emotional. I don't apologize for it. I just embrace it.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so I would like for you to actually explain a little bit how From Grief to Grind came to be and how we came to be in this collaboration.
Okay. All right. So everybody get their tissue, because when I tell this story, right? When I tell this story, people are like, whoa. So in 2010, June of 2010, I had the honor of holding my sister's hand as she took her last breath. She had breast cancer. She was 39 years old. She had a husband. She had a son. Oh, but her faith in God, was like unimaginable. Through her few years of, I call it toying with breast cancer, because I am a believer in God's timing, even though sometimes we don't understand, because we're human. We're like, 39 years is not a long time. However, my sister accomplished so much. Wife, mother. She started a teen. She was a social worker, so she started something for teen moms. She wasn't a teen mom, but she always felt like the world just left them out because they had a baby at a teenage. As a teenager. So she was willing, she wanted to help them out. Right now, to this day, my sister has a scholarship fund for the high school outside of Chicago. Her program is still going right to this day. So as she was going through, I learned something. One thing I learned is we have one life and one moment. The minute we live in fear, the minute we live in denial, we are shortchanging ourselves. Right. Now, did I come to this lesson in 2010 or 2008? No, because I was trying to figure out why God, why my sister? She's a good woman. Oh, Wednesday she's at church, Sunday she's at church. I mean, it was, we grew up in a Christian home, so God was always with us at all times, even now. I'm 37. I'm sorry, I'm 38. I just had a birthday. My dad, he gets on the phone and he prays with me. He's like, awesome. Especially over this project, because this project was tougher on so many levels than what people even know. Because people have to relive this pain that they're writing about. Mm-hmm. It is not a nice space to be in, I'll tell you that. So my very first book came out in 2017, The Unexplained Pain of Sisters Cry. That was for me. I published it, but it was for me to heal. I needed to publish it, not to be a bestseller. I don't care if 2 or 3 people read it, but someone needed to read what happens to a sibling, because we forget about the siblings. We think about the children, we think about the parents. Right. But nobody talks about the sibling who has to hold it down, the one that can't cry, because you got to be strong. Right. You can't do, it's all these can'ts that I couldn't do, and I didn't understand why. The only way I could convey it was to write. Mm-hmm. Now, my sister was not my first loss. She was my hardest one, because she called me at 6 a.m. me daily. Things like that. So, she was the hardest one. I remember when my grandfather Foster passed away, that was tough. He fought long and hard with cancer himself. He loved the Lord. He told us, hey, when I go, don't weep. So I'm over there like holding it in, and I'm looking at my dad with his one tear. And I was like, well, I'm about to cry. But along with losing my sister, which she wanted to be healed, y'all. Let's be clear. Her thing was, I want to be healed. Her healed and my healed apparently was 2 different things. Because I'm like, you're not here anymore, but she's healed in heaven.
Yeah.
So within that grief, I lost myself. I lost family members. I lost friends. I lost a lot. So I felt like I was grieving like over everything. So then after my first book, here comes the vision of From Grief to Grind. After I wrote my first book, I was getting messages like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one who felt like this. Oh my God, yo, I needed this. This helped me. And I'm going, okay. And all I could hear God say was, what you waiting on? And y'all, I had every excuse on not to do it. So I mean, this is a totally transparent moment. I had every excuse on why I shouldn't do this project. Oh, no one's going to want to do it. Who wants to talk about that? That sounds morbid. That sounds crazy. Yo, I went through everything. And then something happened at 3:03 a.m. Now, if anybody follows me, I talk a lot about numbers. I pay attention to numbers. And I woke up and I heard From Grief to Grind, the journey of denial, acceptance, and purpose. I had the title, y'all, way before the Elite 8 came out.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to do some soul searching. I got off social media. For like 20 days, I literally had to do some soul searching. When I was done with the 20 days, y'all, that's when the post and me knowing who I know, and I felt like this project would be good for them on a different level, because it's different when you write it. And Sherri knows, and all the authors know, it is different when you write it. Like you went through it, but when you write it, y'all see my face? That's a whole nother ballgame.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how From Grief to Grind came, and I stopped at the number 8. For those who don't know, number 8 means new beginnings and abundance. It is time for us to stop holding back. I literally did this project scared. Sherri will tell you on the back end, it was crazy from one thing to another, but not one time did I remember my grandfather saying, never falter when God's in control. So I wasn't upset on the initial date that it didn't come out, y'all. It didn't come out on my time. Y'all remember that? Everything comes in God's time.
Right.
So I had to learn patience because I haven't always, been this way.
Yes.
So yes. So that's how it came about.
Awesome. Okay. And, the interesting thing, like I remember when I was sharing with people that I was going to be in this collaboration, there was a little bit of confusion, I think, as people processing the title From Grief to Grind, sort of like, because I think maybe that means something to everybody that said it's a little bit different. And I think one of the key things is that the word grief really does represent something that is central to everybody, but it is different in everybody, if that makes sense. It's the same, but yet different. It shows itself in different ways, which is one of the things I'm so fascinated about the different stories in the book, is because everyone's story is so different, but the central theme of that sort of overwhelm, sadness, like heavy, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do kind of thing, to that pushing through, saying, okay, I get it now. I got it. I'm on to the next thing. And in a better way. I mean, like that's the thing, is starting at one spot where you have no idea why you're at that spot, and then finding yourself in so much better of a space. Can you articulate a little bit about, what that From Grief to Grind means to you?
Yes. Here we go. So as we lose ourselves, and I always like to use this example because people can relate, losing a piece of themselves, not going to get your nails done like you used to. Your patterns start changing. Mm-hmm. And as we're going through that, we typically don't even realize we're hurting. We typically ignore it. And we're like, oh, look, some things change, but it's okay. When people start noticing a change in you, and you got those good people, shout out to the good people that'll be like, it is not, something is not right. And you come to terms with what's going on, whether it's divorce, relationship, whatever it is. And you begin this process, which a lot of us don't even know it's grieving. Let me just say that. I have spoken to many people, especially women. We are emotional. We're taught, this is what we're taught. We are emotional beings. Right. So, you know, we may tear up, and that is fine. However, it's something about this one cry that you had, or this one cry that somebody may be having as they're watching this. It's a different type of cry. Not necessarily the tears, but the inside. Mm-hmm. So that you go into that denial. You go into bargaining. Why God? Why me? Why am I, why is this happening? So as you're processing that, you're grieving. But how many of us have been through loss and now can see their purpose? Some of us walking and running in it, but some of us can see it. Yeah. Before we couldn't see it because we had to transition from that event, pain, walk the path, walk the journey. That's why it says the journey of denial, acceptance, and purpose. Right. So from grief to grind, as I think of it, is grieving, mourning. Mind you, we mourn and grieve every day for some of us. Some days are better than others. Yeah. However, that is pushing us to grind in our purpose even more. Like, I knew I would minister to women. Minister meaning reaching out to women, coaching them, talking to them, speaking. But I didn't understand, I couldn't grasp why grief was always on my mind until about 4 years ago. And someone's like, because I start reading up on it. I'm watching my parents going, where are they? And when I tell people that I'm just now getting my parents back, they don't understand what I'm saying. They're like, they've been here. No, they've been going through hell and high water. That's what they've been doing. So I was reading up on it and I just started talking about it and I had to chuckle. And I said, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing? I'm ready. Because it's time to stop being quiet. Yes. Talk about depression. I'm loving that a lot of people are talking now, speaking up, speaking out, and speaking to people about these cliches or, things that we're going through and we've been taught to hide. You don't got to hide no more. It's not necessary. Right. So that's what's really interesting is like listening to you articulate that and talk about that because in the beginning when you put it out, and I know that you know this, but I saw your post about it and I thought, oh, I'm going to send something to her. And then I decided not to. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. And I would say this is Godsmack, put something right in front of me that reminded me that I had been through the fire and gotten to the other side, and it was your duty to go show that it can be done. And I did not like the reminder, I will tell you. I did not enjoy it, but I will tell you the thing that I did when that happened immediately, I messaged you not even 10 minutes after that phone call that reminded me that, you know what, I did make it through and I don't care what other people, think and say about me because my story, I think, is a little bit different than other people's when you think of the traditional sense of grief. And but I thought, no, because if I don't do this, I'm letting go of my power, my personal power, the power of me. And I thought, I'm not doing it. So I messaged you right away and you were like, yay. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now I thought, oh, what have I done? What have I done? It's like, oh my gosh. And it was like, it took me a long time to sit and ruminate about how am I going to
express this so that it's helpful to someone else that would read it. And then I just had to get out of my own way. But it's interesting listening to you talk about, you know, what it was and how you got there, because I'm like, when you said, you know, losing yourself, that was me. I did lose myself, and I did, you know, remove myself from everything. I don't know that very many people noticed. My husband noticed. But that was a process in part of the healing. But I didn't even know, as you read in my part of the story, I didn't even know that it was grief. I think that's a very common thing. I had two different people, actually, which I write about, pointed out to me. I had to have somebody tell me that's what I went through, because I didn't even know. Because it isn't traditional in that you think of, like, when you, like you with your sister, clearly you knew that was a person loss, that grief would follow that. But I didn't, in my realm, even grasp it. That's why I remember when I got on and we talked about my story, I was like, okay, like mine's a little different. And I felt really awkward because I knew it wouldn't be like what other people would perhaps expect from that word. But yet, one of the things, that's why I say it's the same, yet it's different. It's the same emotions and the same feelings, just a different circumstance. But that's the thing that I love about the anthology, is that everything is very different. The stories are all very different, but the central theme and the healing and getting to that space of a better place is all the same.
Yes, yes, it is. It
awesome.
is. Yeah. And, you know, someone asked me, so you have 8 women in this book with 8 completely different stories. And I said, yeah, because half of the women I know have been through at least 5 of those stories. I took a poll, and this is something everyone's finding out, including Sherri. I actually took a poll on, you know, what people think of grief. What's the first thing that comes to mind? And what have they been through? And they felt like they were grieving. Most of those women have been through relationship grief, divorce grief, loss of self. I didn't realize how many moms have lost a child, which just gives me chills all over my body. You know, so I'm taking this poll going, okay, because typically in an anthology, you stick to one thing. You say, hey, I'm looking for a woman who lost their son. You focus on one theme. But this one, I said, because I like lime green and I'm a crazy sports mom, I had to be different, you know. You know, because I wanted a plethora of stories, and I wanted, when people read this, I want them to be transformed in some way. Whether it's give your sister a hug that just signed her divorce papers, or, you know, going through a depression, or that mom, you know, that is staring herself in the mirror saying, why my child? Go give them a hug. Because you're going to feel, I'm not saying this because I have the best 8 ladies, I'm just saying, you know, in the book. But when you read it, and there's one story, y'all, I haven't finished yet. And I'm the compiler. The reason why I haven't finished it, because it's hard for me to read and grasp. However, all of the rest of them, you're going to see something that we don't talk about. You're going to see them not only transition or transform, but you're going to see them triumph, gain so much more.
Right.
And, you know, I'm going to give a little tidbit. There's a bonus story that I wrote in there. And the reason why I wrote that in there is because no one talks about the loss of someone and they're down the street. Nobody talks about that. That heartfelt loss of a friend or a cousin, or no one talks about that. So there is a bonus story in there, but you know, I wanted the audience, men and women, I know there's women in there, but this is for men and women, to see the great, how great people are and what goes beyond that.
Right.
And it's crazy to me because I read it and I'm going, because I see y'all. And I want to tell y'all something. True story. There were two authors that went through terrible losses while writing this book.
Yep.
I literally don't know how they finished. I'm just telling you. Like, yeah, it's crazy. So Nicole and Maisha, God bless you, honey. Because I probably was like, the heck with all this, you know?
Right. Yes, but also I think having known that they got through the first part probably allowed them to know that they could get through that again. It's that, you know, knowing that you overcame and that you used whatever God's plan was for you to fuel the next move for you. At least that, in my mind, that's how they potentially did that, was to say, you know, here, this is to remind you, you have the power and you have the grit and the grind to get to the next space in a better place than where you were before. And that, you know, that's kind of one of the themes of what I wrote about is, you know, I do feel very honestly that, you know, I would never have gotten to where I am today had I not gone through that. And I knew I couldn't see the whole plan for my life. I did accept that. I did had to take the crap with the great, and it just is what it is. So I want to just, before we wrap up, I want to just say that I know that you really feel passionate about From Grief to Grind, that it's a movement. It's not just a book, it's a movement. And can you just give us a little snapshot of what you see into the future for From Grief to Grind? Sorry, hitting my...
Yes. So what I see in the future is a sibling grief group. And I want to host it for siblings that have lost a sibling. Not the mom, not no one else. I want it to be a breakthrough for them. I see and y'all about to be the first to hear this. You don't even know this, Sherri. Surprise, surprise. So here goes surprise one, okay? I am going to host, it's going to be called Grief Me Not for Siblings Only. And it's going to be a breakthrough session with myself. I have two other people that haven't really confirmed, so I won't say their names. Two other people that are going to go in it with me. One is a spiritual advisor and one is into Reiki. We are going to be glad in where we're at and understand what's going on right now. So it's called Grief Me Not for Siblings Only. I'm excited about that.
Okay.
And I actually booked 2 speaking engagements already for 2019. Nice. And I'm going to talk about grief and entrepreneurship.
Nice. That's exciting.
It is tough. I am excited. So I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. I just told you I lost my sister in 2010. I had to keep going, even through everything. And when I say everything, y'all, it was crazy during 2010 and about 2012, 2013. It was crazy. It was so much going on because in the midst of my sister, I lost my mother-in-law. And we were like this. So it was like so much going on in the Moore household that, yeah.
Right.
So I had to, you know, keep going. And how do you keep going?
Right.
With your business and you're literally, I was drowning in grief. Like I'm waving the white flag, like help, you know. So I will be speaking on that. And I will be in the Midwest. Doing that in June and July. I'm a Midwestern girl, y'all. I love the Midwest. So I see speaking engagements, I see events, I see private coaching. I am I'm gonna announce to y'all that I am an intuitive grief coach. And I do have free discovery calls for anyone that is toying with life right now because they're hurt. And when I say hurt, I'm just not talking about losing someone. My focus is loss of a person, loss of self, entrepreneurship, and grief. Like, what does that look like for you? So I do have a session for that.
Okay.
And I see the Elite 8 going so much further than they probably can see. And I tell them this all the time. I know they're like, this girl is crazy, you know, because what's happening is Hope, Maisha, Kyla, Sherri, Nicole, Phoenix, Dorset, and Denisha, they are blossoming in their own right. Like they have their own stuff going on. And I am 100% behind them, but I also see where they could talk about their story.
Mm-hmm.
They could talk about their story and from grief to grind and continue the movement to let that next woman know that's just not understanding how they, you know, foreclosure loss. I talk about that too. Why is this like, where did I go wrong? You know, so I see them taking their stories and going above and beyond wherever they can see. Because I see Sherri, she's got an event coming up September 22nd in Springfield, Illinois. I am super duper excited. Y'all, I get really giddy. So this is me like all the time. I'm so happy for you, Sherri. I'm so excited. Shout out to her team. Yo, I'm telling you, if you don't have good people on your side, pray that God send them to you. It is nothing like having good people on your side, a good team, like period, point blank. Someone's that gonna get in your butt when you're procrastinating. You need that. I'm telling you.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Build that tribe, folks. That's what we need to do.
I'm telling you. So yes. So that's where I see From Grief to Grind. And it is a movement. It's not just a book.
Right.
But y'all, I tell you, it became a movement in between the book. And when God sends y'all something, just go with it. Cause I'll be honest, when I felt that, embraced that, and my dad told me what I needed to do, because I knew that was God talking. He's the deacon, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, movement. Literally, I was just like, okay, we're gonna go with that. Yeah. So
exactly. Yeah. And you know, it's funny because that's kind of like how I felt about it too. I was like, as I said, I tried to push it off, and I felt like that phone call that I had that made me go, really? You know, like I thought I had moved past that, and I was like, nope, story still needs to be told. I still need to have my say about what happened. I need to have my story be told. And I'm like, because there's a different story being told and I'm not part of it. You know, I wasn't the one writing it. So I was like, okay, I think I need to be able to have some say in this. And I'm like, I want in black and white for my story to be told. And it really wasn't about any people or places or anything like that. It was about me and my journey and how I internalized it. And where I came out from it. And, you know, the power of me, the conference that you were talking about, all of that has fallen out from all of that stuff. And this has all been part of the journey for me. So, you know, I thank you for the opportunity for that. And, you know, I think you're an awesome person and a very dynamic coach and speaker. So what I'd like for you to do is when we jump off and the video posts up, if you would post, you know, some of your links, how people can get in contact with you and do that discovery session with you. And then I'll have you send me the links too, so that when we upload it to YouTube, then we can do that. There's Phoenix. Hey, girl.
Hey, Phoenix.
So, you know, that way we'll have all the links so that if people can contact you, and I know you'll have additional future projects, but that way people can follow you. And so where you're going to be at those speaking engagements and stuff, so they can make sure that they can follow you with that and stuff and all the awesome things that you have coming. Which, you know, you already know you can tag me in anything that you do.
Okay, good.
Anyway, I would like to say thank you so much, Andrea, for joining me. And I'd love to just really let you know how grateful I am for being part of this very important project and being part of my own healing. The book is also for me. So I'm just grateful for you, and I thank you for taking the time to jump on with me today. And don't forget to post your links. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share?
I do. And I want to thank you. You know, I'm a baby, Sherri, so I'm holding it back.
She's trying
over
not
here.
to cry. I'm like, don't cry. We'll end up with a big sloppy mess.
Yes. So I do have some final thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So as someone is watching the replay or watching now, I want you to do two things for yourself. Every day for the next 30 days, I want you to tell yourself how great you are. Feeling hopeless doesn't mean you're not great. Being broken doesn't mean you're not great. You are great right now, no matter what. No matter what someone has told you, no matter how your mama and daddy treat you, no matter how so-and-so treats you, tell yourself for the next 30 days how great you are and why you're great. And be specific. The second thing is for the person right now that can see their vision, that is like literally smiling, but they don't know where to start. Start. Because then you'll see the abundance start opening up, those doors start opening up that you never thought could open up.
That's right.
You're going to meet the greatest people. You're going to be like, where has this person been all my life? You are going to be able to go to conferences and, look on, I tell people this, look on Eventbrite to see what's going on locally.
Absolutely.
Start. Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm. Start walking out on faith and stop standing scared.
Yes. And if you're scared, do it anyway. That's always I told somebody that this morning. I don't care if you're scared. Do it anyway. Do it scared.
Yeah.
Go.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Matthew, how you doing? Matthew is a friend of mine, so he's awesome. So I just want to let y'all know that. Do it. We have one life. We got one moment. Yeah. And someone in this world needs you.
Yes.
I can witness to that. I never thought that the first book I wrote, I would get 30-something messages in my inbox thanking me just for writing.
Yep.
My thoughts and how I felt. Now look, I have a whole movement with the Elite 8. I'm telling y'all they're great. I'm telling you they're great. So
yeah,
I want to leave you with that thought.
The link in the comments for the book as well. For my viewers, I am offering a special for a signed copy. So I will put that out as well. So if you would like to have a personal message from Sherri in your book, you can get that, and I'll put that information in there as well. So thank you once again, Andrea. I appreciate you and I adore you, and I think you're awesome. And I'm so excited for this project that we worked on together. And I look forward to having people connect with you, and I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much. You have a good Friday.
Yes, I will. All right. Have a great day.
You too, hon.